In Stochas, you have the ability to input notes as chords. By clicking on this Chord tab at the bottom, you'll bring up a selection of popular chords that you can use to input quickly into Stochas. So let me just highlight a couple of things when you're working with the Chord tab. You'll see now that I can input 4 notes here. 4 notes are highlighted, but the bottom one, the one under the mouse cursor, is a little bit whiter. Now this is indicating the root note or the bass note of that chord. So in this instance I'm inputting a G minor 7th chord. Now this is set up this way because if I use the up arrow, I can now change the inversion of the chord, where that F that was sat above now sits below that G. But I'm still playing a G minor 7th chord. If I move my mouse to the A, I'm now playing an A minor 7th chord with this inversion. If I press the up arrow again, as you can see, that E has now moved from above the A to below the A. So I now have the next inversion, and I'm still with this A minor 7th chord. So I'll just go ahead and I'll put a couple in. Clicking and dragging on a note, as you can see here, will extend the note length as a chord, making it really easy to go through and input your tracks. So as you can see, I'm very quickly able to build up the pattern that I want into Stochas. Okay, it doesn't sound that great, and that brings me on to using Stochas in polyphonic mode. As you heard then, it sounded all a bit of a mess. And that's because it was in monophonic mode and it was selecting randomly between what really is an accompaniment section, these chords here. And so I want Stochas to play more than one note at a time. So I can use here the probability mode and set it to poly, or to polyphonic. And in this mode I can set the maximum number of the maximum number of notes that Stochas is going to play by using the max poly, which in this instance I've got it set to 3. And then I can set the bias, and this bias here will tell Stochas how likely you want it to play a maximum number of notes. So in this instance, with a bias of 0, it's going to be randomly selecting between 1 and 3 notes every time. So let's have a listen to that. As you heard there, step 10, and when it came back round again, step 1, it only played 1 note. Now if I turn this bias all the way up to 99, it's going to play 3 notes every single time and randomly select from those. So that's how you can create your accompaniment sections really quickly using the chords and the polyphonic modes. The probability, so as you can see, 86, 77%, 12%, but there is the option to turn a note on, which means that when Stochas reaches these steps, it will always play the notes that are set to being on, which is handy when we're playing chords like this, because we might want the bottom note or the root note of every chord to always be played, and then to select the other 2 notes from this 3-note max poly from these other three to be played. So let's listen to that now. As you heard, it always played this bottom set of notes.